Hey guys, welcome to Comprehension, Day 3 of our story 10 Mile Day. We're going to go through our second read questions today. We're going to start out with this selection from the passage. The 8 track layers were declared heroes and were featured in later histories. Each had lifted over 125 tons of iron. No single crew has ever beaten their record. The Chinese workers had once again proven themselves to their biased rivals. Each team had something to celebrate. Let's take a look at that word, record. What does record mean in this sentence? The word record. It says, no single crew has ever beaten their record. That's right. A record here is like an achievement, right? It's a high-scoring example, because no crew has ever beaten their record. Do you have to give your best effort to beat a record? Absolutely. Your record should be your best effort every single time. Beating a record is an achievement where you have to give your best effort. The exhausted men cast down their tools, and the day's work came to an abrupt end. What does it mean to cast something down? And you cast down, the exhausted men cast down their tools, and the day's work came to an abrupt end. If you said cast down means to throw down or to place down, you are absolutely correct. Cast down means place or throw down, as in done with it. Like you cast down your pencil after you finished writing your essay. As the afternoon wore on, the foreman continued to ride the line, encouraging the men. Although the horses pulling the iron cars were changed every 2 hours, they could no longer run up the grade. Now they had to walk slowly up the steep hillside. What do they mean by grade in this? What does the word grade mean here? The word grade. I don't think it means the same as a grade does in school. I don't think they're talking about A's, B's, C's, and D's. Do you? Let's use our context clues to kind of figure it out. It says, although the horses pulling the iron cars were changed every 2 hours, they could no longer run up the grade. Now they had to walk slowly up the steep hillside. Do you see the context clue? There it is. Steep hillside is our context clue. So grade is another word for a steep hillside, like they're climbing up, right? So grade is climbing up the side of a steep hillside. And those words, steep and hillside, and run up. Oh, up is a good one right there. Those are our context clues that let us know we're right. All right, let's keep going. By 7 p.m., the sun was dipping behind Monument Point. Strobridge signaled for the final blast from the train whistle, and the exhausted men cast down their tools, and the day's work came to an abrupt end. What was the signal that let the men know they could stop for the day? That's right, it was a train whistle. The train whistle was the signal to stop. It's right here in the text. Train whistle. And how did the men feel as they stopped their work for the day? Oh, there's another context clue, another bit of evidence. It says the exhausted men. What does exhausted feel like? If you're exhausted, you feel really what? I know for me, if I'm exhausted, I am really, really tired, super tired. So exhausted and tired are synonyms. The exhausted men, we could say the tired men cast down their tools, and the day's work came to an abrupt end, because to be exhausted is to be tired. The 8 track layers were declared heroes and were featured in later histories. Each had lifted over 125 tons of iron. No single crew has ever beaten their record. The Chinese workers had once again proven themselves to their biased rivals. Each team had something to celebrate. Who are the Chinese workers? In our story, the Chinese workers on the railroads did what? Were they part of the 10-mile day challenge? Absolutely. And why did they signal them? Why did they separate them out? The Chinese workers in our story were the immigrants, right? And the immigrants are people who come over from distant lands to live permanently in a new area. So they've come to the United States and live permanently in the United States, and they're working here for the railroad, right? Why did they have to prove themselves to their rivals? Because maybe people had ideas that the Chinese workers weren't the same as the other workers who worked in the railroad. So they proved themselves by being part of this 10-mile challenge. And they did such a good job, along with the other workers, that now other people can't talk to them and say that they're not doing a good job, right? They're talking to their biased rivals. They proved their worth as they worked on this challenge. So what challenges do immigrants encounter? Well, what is an immigrant? An immigrant is somebody who comes from another land to live permanently in a new place. So I want you to infer how it feels to move to a completely new place. Not only are you starting somewhere new, but you've also got to learn a new language. You've got to learn new foods and new rules, things that might not have happened back where you're from. So how hard would that be? Imagine going to the grocery store and you're having to learn the names of all the items of food on the shelves. Or you go to the movies and you have to learn a new language in order to watch a movie. Would that be hard? I think it would be. And so challenges that immigrants encounter, you're not just moving, and moving's hard enough, isn't it? But you're learning a whole new culture, aren't you? You're learning the rules and the language and the food and the way to talk to people all over again. And what challenges did these Chinese immigrants face in 10-mile day? Well, they had to prove themselves. They looked different than the other people who were working on the railroad. And so they had to prove that they were just as hardworking as everybody else. And that they were just as good as everybody else working on the railroad. And so that was an additional challenge that the Chinese immigrants faced. And they did such a good job on the 10-mile day that they proved themselves as the workers, the same hard workers as everyone else. All right, guys. Good luck to you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.